Hey everybody, this is Emily Josephine, and I thought you'd like an update on my Back to Eden garden. Today is Thursday, August 4th, I think. 4th or 5th? I think it's the 4th. Anyway, so how are the wood chips working? Are they doing what they're supposed to do? Well, this is my asparagus patch. They're doing an awesome job everywhere of keeping weeds from growing. Well, what about irrigation? Have I been able to reduce my irrigation over the last couple of years? Yes. However, as I talked about in a previous video that I uploaded recently, I have cut down the blackberries. Yesterday I gave the blackberries a severe haircut. But I discovered that even with wood chips, things that produce fruit need a lot more water than I thought, especially the first year of doing Back to Eden. Now remember, if you put down green wood chips, that is a tree has been freshly chipped, it has, they're going to take longer to decompose, and so they're not going to automatically irrigate your garden, and they're also going to suck nitrogen away from the soil. You're going to have to fertilize if you want to use the green wood chips the first year. These wood chips were kind of like halfway. They had been sitting in the ground, on the ground for a few months before they actually went on our garden. However, they have not enabled me to not irrigate. And I don't know what it is with all these weird grasses. I had these in Plano too. I mean, without wood chips, they would just come up. But this is the only weed that's come up in my peppers are these, and I think in the tomato too. However, last year, so it's been between 95 and 100 degrees the last, I'm going to say 3 weeks at least. And last year during that, and we've had I got to throw in that we have had some rain. It hasn't been a straight drought. In the last 2 months, we did one day have a 3-inch rain, thunderstorm that brought us 3 inches. And a couple weeks ago, we had like 1.5 inches. And the other day we had, 3-4 days ago we had 0.7 of an inch. But in between all those rains, and I did say in a previous video, this is our soil here is very sandy. And even though it is amended somewhat in the garden, it's still it doesn't really hold water. It's not really loamy yet. It hasn't gotten to that point. So even, you think 3 inches, so, oh, great, you wouldn't have to water for 2 weeks. No. In this sandy soil, 3 inches might, you're lucky if it lasts you 3 or 4 days with the shallow-rooted vegetable crops. With trees, it's different, right, because the tree roots go down deeper. But be that as it may, knowing that, the sporadic rain we've had, still it amounts to a drought with the sandy soil. And last year, with this kind of weather, I was having to water the tomatoes every single day. I was having to water everything. Looks like I have a hornworm over here, doesn't it? See how that bear, maybe I should go searching. I had one I picked one off a few days ago on the other side. I'm not seeing any more missing leaves, though. Oh well. That's the fun thing about tomatoes, is practically the only pest that bothers them is hornworms. At least that's I know other people have had other pests. I've heard about mites and stuff. I never had that problem. But anyway, so back to frequency of watering. Yeah. So last year I was having to water everything every day so it didn't so everything wouldn't completely dry up. And do these things look completely dried up? No. And the strawberries too. I didn't show you the strawberries over there. Good to do. Look right. See all that green right in there? Those are all strawberries. They're green. I'm watering them. They're getting about 15. Like this 100 square foot patch is getting about 15 gallons twice a week. So say 30 gallons a week. Last year when I had the strawberries here, and they just had hay over them, I was watering them like every other day, just like 20 gallons every other day, and they were still drying up on me. So are the wood chips decreasing the need for irrigation? Oh yes, definitely. You know, well, any kind of mulch on the ground will help keep the water, will help keep the soil a little cooler and a little bit drier. But the wood chips, as far as I can tell, are working a lot better than the hay did. For example, the peppers, the pole beans back there, forgetting my finger in that picture, the pole beans back there, and the tomatoes, I'm watering just 3 times a week. Cucumbers have to be watered every day because they're very thirsty, and the cucumbers will get bitter. The fruit gets bitter if you don't water every day in this heat. However, yeah, it's doing, you know, the wood chips have definitely kept weeds down, kept weeds away practically, hardly any, and not eliminated, but yes, reduced the irrigation. And if you're wondering why the blackberries are looking so dried up and pathetic, you know, go back and watch that video that I have the link up there about, you know, I talk about fruit, growing fruit and things like that. But all right, so back to Eden update. You know, basically we've had a really hot and, you know, really hot and mostly dry summer, and my crops are doing pretty well, and this is the best year for peppers that I've ever had, because look at, there's another one turning red back there, because we haven't got a ton of rain. Peppers do not like a ton of rain. But now, wouldn't you love to see how this does next year? However, for the most part, I am going to transition away from the Back to Eden method. Why? I thought you said the wood chips were working. Yeah, and it would be great to continue doing the Back to Eden method and let the wood chips seriously amend the soil and let them get to the point where I don't have to water at all, even during a drought. But guess what? We live in the middle of nowhere. We're not in a city where we can just call up a landscaping company or tree trimming company and ask them to dump a truckload of wood chips on our property. We had to, as you may know, fill 5-gallon buckets from the side of the road. And it was a lot of trips, and it was a lot of work. And we're not guaranteed that every year the electric company or some other tree trimming company is going to be cutting trees down near our property where it's convenient to drive and pick it up. So, you know, the amount of wood chips I have right now would last for maybe 2 or 3 years, but then I would have to start piling on more because, you know, it would be decaying. And then what do I do? This is a kiwi, by the way, in case you didn't know. My female kiwi. So I'm going to be showing you later in the year what I'm going to be doing differently. Now the peppers are going to stay. These peppers are going, I'm going to turn them into perennial plants. I'm never going to have to plant another pepper, and I'll explain in a later video in the fall how that works. So the peppers will stay, and the peppers I'll keep wood chipped as much as possible as long as we have wood chips. I'm going to grow my sweet potatoes. I'm going to do that using the wood chip method forever. I mean, even if I have to go out and buy wood chips from Lowe's or something. But long story short, using the wood chips, you know, if you pile on 6 to 8 inches or more of wood chips on your garden, it is going to reduce watering. It is going to eventually turn into fertilizer instead of taking nutrients from the ground. And it is a great way, especially if you don't have super sandy soil where it's going to take several years for the soil to get amended. It is a great way to garden in the ground. But for a couple different reasons, The main one being the wood chip issue. They being, accessibility of wood chips. We're going to, for the most part, back away and do something different. That is also going to conserve water. So there you go. My Back to Eden Garden update during a very hot and dry summer. If this video has been helpful at all, thumbs up and go ahead and share it with all your gardening friends. Thanks for watching. I'll see you for the next video. In the meantime, remember to help someone in need this week.